We're joined this morning by Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson. And Chief, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Jimmy.
Thanks for being with us today, and it's been a busy 48 hours or so. Update us a little bit on just kind of lay it out as far as when you guys got the first call and what happened after that with the fires here in town.
Okay. Yeah. On the night of the 7th, we had quite a busy night, not just us, but the fire department and 6 other fire departments helped out. So we started out with a call to Cross Creek Estates off of Arco Dairy Road, and not anything really major there. You know, fire department answers a fire call. But then we started getting call after call in different locations of the city, and we knew we kind of had a problem there. So the fire department was kind of stretched out. They started calling in all of their people. Our guys started hitting the streets and trying to locate anybody that they could that was in the area that these fires were going on. And we wound up having a total of 6 fires or 5 in the same general area. The first one in Cross Creek Estate has been deemed an arson, but we don't feel like it's related to the other 5. And the reason for that is due to the distance that it is from the others. We, with our patrol units out and about, they were able to come across some kids walking in the area and made a stop, identified the kids, and it wound up being the ones that were responsible.
Were these kids known to local law enforcement prior to this?
I think a couple of them were.
Okay.
One I don't believe was, but a couple of the kids were. That night or the next morning we arrested one, and that kid went to detention in Anniston. The other 2 were released to parents or guardians, and then a little bit more information was gathered, and we went back and were able to arrest the other 2.
Fortunately, there wasn't loss of life. And apparently maybe a minor injury or 2, but it could have been much, much worse.
It could have been much, much worse. The 5 that were here in the city limits were, 4 of the 5 were vacant residences. One was an actual garage, and the actual garage is probably, to me, the one that sustained the most damage, because from my understanding there were antique vehicles, motorcycles in this garage, and it's a bad situation for everybody in town, especially at the time that it's going on, because it kind of sends panic around. There were a lot of people talking on Facebook, social media, and kind of pushed us to get on out there, and so glad that we were able to get the kids that were responsible.
And certainly within a short period of time to come in contact with the 3 individuals and make the arrest as far as charges being made. Now, what's the next step with these 3 individuals?
The next step with the 3 will be a visit before, I believe it'll be Judge Rumsey here in District Court, Juvenile Court. And it'll be up to our district attorney's office whether or not, I believe 2 of the 3 could fit and be charged as adults, due to the fact that one of the residents was an occupied residence.
And with these unoccupied residences, homes, buildings, you never know who may have been inside, went in there to sleep or something like that. So you had to wait till daybreak to really be able to look in there and see what was going on.
Yes, sir. We do have a population of vagrants here, and they do use these residences for shelter. And luckily there was no one in them.
That's fantastic. You talked about social media, and I'm telling you, social media just lit up when these things begin to happen, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's not, because there's a lot of rumors out there too.
Yeah, the rumors start flying, and we try to get a handle on it, but sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. we appreciate the social media posts. It kind of gets us motivated and gets us, rolling and working a little harder than it would be, I guess, if it was just no pressure on us. So the social media kind of pushes us and gets us out there. We were glad to be able to make the arrests and in such a quick response and a quick time.
The first call when it came in at 507 Cross Creek Lane, people thinking, well, fires sometimes happen.
Yes,
but when you began to get these other calls, most of them in a localized area right there, even somebody like me is not real smart, figured out real quick that there's something going on here.
Yeah, that's the way it happened, and that's the biggest key is that they were happening back to back to back. Mm-hmm. It tells us that there's somebody that's setting these fires, especially with them being vacant homes.
Is it just kids doing these things, or do they have a reason to do it, or what?
We don't know a motive. Motive, to me, it seems like the kids are just have idle time, and I don't know. I guess it's just they were being mean kids.
But it had to have been thought out a little bit because of the way it developed, right?
I really don't think it was thought out. It was just that they didn't have anything better to do.
Spontaneous?
I think so.
Wow.
It's just random acts.
Well, with Sylacauga Fire, other first responders being called in, hats off to everybody involved in taking care of the citizens of Sylacauga.
Yes, sir. We would, Sylacauga Fire Department did a great job. Our patrol division did a great job in catching the three quickly. We had a lot of help from volunteer fire departments. Mm-hmm. We had Sycamore Volunteer Fire Department. We had Oak Grove, Lay Lake, County Line, Talladega Fire Department came in, mm-hmm. Childersburg Fire Department came in, and there was a total of seven different fire departments that helped out.
Does the state fire marshal's office get involved in these kind of things?
They do. They actually came out and went with our investigators to the Cross Creek Lane mm-hmm. fire. They would have been involved in this one had we not gone ahead and made the arrests.
So that one is suspected as an arson as well?
That one is suspected as an arson, but like I say, we don't think that it's related to the other five.
Yeah, okay. Several weeks ago, we had a series of burglaries and incidences in Sylacauga pertaining to burglaries and break-ins and stuff like that. Kind of update us a little bit on that, and if things have settled a little bit, we're getting into the holiday season and people traveling and their gifts and all this kind of stuff. I guess one of the things, we just got to use some common sense as residents. Yeah,
we haven't had a rash of actual home burglaries. Mm-hmm. The problem has been car burglaries. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that we're finding is that the majority of these cars are being left unlocked. I know we're in the South, not in a big town, but this is this day and time that you can't leave your car doors unlocked, especially when you're leaving valuables in them. So we have these problems periodically, mm-hmm. and usually we'll catch a person or two doing them. They'll stop for a little while, then they'll start back up. They have slacked off a little bit. I don't know if it's because of the pressure that we're putting on the people that are committing these, but they haven't stopped. We haven't made an arrest on them. We don't have a lot of evidence to go on. These crimes tend to be crimes of opportunity. And if we don't give them the opportunity to break into the vehicle, or to go into the vehicle actually, then 9 times out of 10, they don't go into it.
Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson, our guest this morning for a few more minutes, and with these car burglaries, I'm kind of bad about it myself a little bit. I'll leave some things in my vehicle I shouldn't leave. You think you're locking the vehicle. Sometimes you may not lock it, but with the holiday season and a lot of shopping going on, there's some steps we need to take care of our valuables.
Yeah, and that's where the common sense comes into play. We're told every year, we go through this every year, and it's things like parking in lit areas. Don't carry too many gifts or too many things that you purchased at one time. Take them out to the car. Put them out of sight in the vehicle. If you're going to leave them in the vehicle, put them in the trunk. If you have some in the back seat, maybe put them to where no one can see them. Cover them up with a jacket or a blanket or something. The shoppers that are buying things inside don't need to be helping out the shoppers that are peeking in the windows outside. There's other things that you can do. When we get into the Christmas season and you get your gifts, don't leave your new television box on the curb. It tells the people that are out looking to break into homes kind of what they've got to look for in there.
We need to keep an eye out one for another.
We do. Everyone needs to watch out for each other. If you see things that are going on that seem to be out of place or that seem to be abnormal, call us. Our job is to respond to the calls. We're going to respond to the calls that we get. Even if it turns out to be nothing, we're going to respond to them. We're going to check them out.
One of the things that is concerning in America, including Alabama and Talladega County, so many guns out there. It seems like everybody's got guns, and a lot of us have got guns. We don't know a whole lot about the guns either.
Yes, sir. Well, we're in the South, okay? And everybody's got guns. This goes back kind of to the car burglaries. That's what a lot of the guns that are coming onto the street now are coming from these car burglaries. Mm-hmm. People leave their guns in their car. They don't lock their doors, and the random car burglar just walks up, checks the doorknob, and if it's open, he goes through and he takes what he can take. We want people to be kind of responsible for their things. Keep your doors locked. Let's help keep some of these guns off the road.
Does the Sylacauga Police Department, do you guys do training classes for people who would like to be trained about using a weapon? We don't right now. Mm-hmm.
We hope to do that in the near future. We're building a firearms range here at the towards the end of the runway there at the airport. Mm-hmm. It'll be for our police department use, but we do have plans in the future to do some classes, civilian classes, maybe a citizens police academy, things of that nature.
Finally, this morning, Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson, our guest, and we appreciate Chief Johnson for being here this morning. Finally, today, update us on the police department and some good things that are happening there and for the year 2018.
Well, one of the good things is, like I said, we're finally going to have our own firearms range. Mm-hmm. We're putting some finishing touches on it so that we can start using it in 2018, start teaching some classes like we talked about. We are going to be helping with our Department of Human Resources, teaming with them this Christmas season to take in some toys for the foster children in Talladega County. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that kind of lightens up our department down there. And I don't know what 2018 is going to bring.
Are we looking for more officers now?
We are. We today is actually the last day to take applications. Mm-hmm. We've got 3 vacancies right now that we're going to try to fill, and hopefully we can get them filled quickly because, like I said, we're at minimum staff levels, and everybody's working a little overtime. Everybody's working a little harder to keep up with things. And
how do you try to recruit, Chief?
We recruit through word of mouth. We mm-hmm. recruit through our HR posts in the Daily Home. She posts on websites for that take applications, and we do a lot of social media.
How What are some of the perks or pluses that a police department like Sylacauga can offer individuals who are looking to get into police work or maybe moving from one locale to another?
The Sylacauga Police Department is a great department to work in. You have competitive pay. We have great benefits, medical, dental, vision, and extra benefits as far as life insurance. Mm-hmm. It's the law enforcement field isn't how people see it on TV, but it gets exciting sometimes. And if you like excitement and you're willing to work, then we want you to come and apply with us.
I mean, you need to be a people person.
You need to be a people person. Yeah, that's right. We do more counseling and more talking to people than we do anything else.
If people watching this morning in the Sylacauga area need Sylacauga Police Department services, walk us through the steps of how they contact you.
All right. Of course, if it's an emergency, you immediately dial 911. If you're calling from a cell phone, they're going to need to know an address. They're going to need to know what's going on if you can give that information. If you're calling from a landline, all you have to do is make the call. If it's an emergency and you can't speak, they're going to know the address that's related to the phone. For non-emergency, we ask people to call our dispatch center, which is located up between Winterboro and Talladega, and then they dispatch an officer out. Non-emergency is 256-245-4334, and if it's just a question for me or some of my staff, our records office between 8 and 5 is 401-2448, and they'll get you to the right phone to answer the questions that you need.
And vehicles, always something that is a challenge to keep up as many miles you guys put on.
Yeah, we put a lot of miles on the vehicles. We're not getting any new vehicles this time, but we got several a couple of years ago that our vehicles are holding up fairly well, and I know here recently we had people on social media talking about an unmarked vehicle trying to make a traffic stop, mm-hmm. and that happens from time to time, and it just happened to be the same type of vehicle that we purchased a couple years back, a black Ford Explorer. So if there are traffic stops made by these unmarked black vehicles, but if you don't feel comfortable stopping wherever the officer tries to stop you, we don't have a problem with you pulling into a parking lot, pulling into wherever you feel safe, and the officer's going to feel a little safer as well. It's just as scary for us to go on a traffic stop as it is for people that are being stopped.
Sometimes a lot of bad things can happen.
Yeah.
Chief Johnson, thanks for being with us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Sylacauga Police Chief Kelley Johnson, our guest here on Daybreak. We'll continue with more right after you. Watch this.